Hi. So in previous video I was talking about some events and some things I did, some crazy things I did at a period of time before the day when I decided to go and search for a little help in the hospital. So that day actually was a funeral from a friend, you can say, I knew, who hanged himself, and I didn't went actually to the funeral because I was a big mess in my head because of everything I described. Then I bought some beers, alcohol, of course, and after the funeral, I went to his grave on the graveyard. And to tell you the truth, it was not so much about that he died and that I went there feeling sorry for him, and it was not even about that girlfriend that left me. It was about a vicious circle that I felt in of BPD, of ups and downs and depressions and everything. So in that circle something came to my head and I went to the graveyard and drink beers there, and of course talking to him, like talking to him. And after some time, when I was drunk, I went home. So when came home, I actually went to my room and to drink some more alcohol and started feeling really bad, like total nervous breakdown. Total nervous breakdown. I couldn't focus on nothing. Emotions were changing so fast. Everything was crazy. Me, I was so anxious. There was my body felt so anxious. I cannot describe the feelings. What happened? And so in that time, I started to go around the house, and then I started to go out, and I sit on the, how is it called? It's on stairs, and hold my head and I started talking that why am I living? What's the reason I don't deserve to live? I don't deserve nothing. So I started talking so badly about myself, so negative about myself and everything. And my parents saw me and didn't know what to do. So they asked our friend to come. He had some friends also whose wife was working in a hospital in psychiatry, and they called her and asked what should we do. And she advised, because I think it was a total nervous breakdown because of the alcohol and everything, and she said that we should go and ask for some help on a psychiatry in the hospital. So after some time sitting like that and talking, when I was a little bit calmer, we decided that we will go to the hospital, and we went to the hospital, of course. And now the story begins when we came to the hospital. So you come in, doctors talk to you, you say where is the problem. He asked to see on my hands where I was cutting myself and what was wrong, but I was better at that point when I was in the total nervous breakdown, but I was still so anxious, so let's say talking fast and out of control, still out of control. I was not calm and talking calm, and they decided to let me stay in the hospital. Not let me, that I should say, they advised that I should stay in the hospital. And I talked to my parents, and we decided that I should stay there. So they tried to help me because the things were really out of control. I mean, that nervous breakdown and everything. And before it was also something like that happened that day, but a little bit easier. And I decided to stay there. So there, they at the beginning that they put you in one room where people come when you just came in, and there was, I think, 3 or 4 people more there, and in that room you should be for a week or so, as I remember that they said. And they showed me my bed there, and they put me into me some IV with some medications and gave me some pills. My parents was there with me for some short time. We said our goodbyes. Okay. So I stayed there, my parents were left, and I started talking to a guy who was there, and we talked a little bit. And now the craziest thing in my life, I think, because after some time, was it 30 minutes, 45 minutes or so, when I was there, the drugs still didn't kick in totally, and I got so big panic attack. That was so intense, and something in me was so intense that I need to get out of there. It was a feeling I could not be in peace. I could not be say. I just needed to get out of there. I was going crazy that I need to go out of there. So I went to the door, and I don't know if they locked the door or they forgot to lock the door. And I opened the door. So when I opened the door, a nurse was there. She was a small woman, young woman as I remember. And I look at her and I can see she was afraid in her eyes, because there are also crazy people come there, and when you look at me when I came there and how I was acting, you couldn't say I was normal at the moment, but you could see she was afraid. But I just took her by her shoulders, moved a little bit to the right, and told her, I just need to go, don't be scared, I will do nothing, I just need to go, and started running. I ran from that room to the corridor. From corridor, I was running like crazy down the stairs out of the building. I was feeling so intense that I just need to escape. I was running. It's a big hospital, so the part where I was up in the hill in the hospital, and you got to run down. And I ran like crazy, turning out if they were chasing me or something, and like crazy running until the street. I went to not the main exit, but the like there's a fence around the hospital, and there was a small door. I went there, and there was a taxi there. Of course, I didn't have money, but I forgot to tell. Before I was running, I was just pulled that IV from the bottle, so it was hanging from my hand, the needle and that how is it called, hose and everything. And when I ran down through that door to the taxi, I entered the taxi and just panically said to him, just drive, they will pay you when you get me to my home, they will pay you, just drive. And he was driving. He looked at me first and started driving. When he started driving, I pulled that needle from my hand, and that rubber hose, hold it in my hand, and just talking. I was feeling so intense, and just talking. He was looking at me, but I don't know what that meant. I just ran away from the hospital and got into the taxi and said, drive with the IV and hose in my arm, still pulling that out. But he drove me home, and you can imagine the surprise on my parents when they show me, when they seen me, that I came home, and they went and paid the taxi. They asked me what happened, and I told them that I escaped, that I could not be there, that I had panic, fear, that I simply could not stay there. And we talked, and the drugs actually at that point started to kick in, that those pills they gave me, and I was going down. I was being more relaxed and more down. But after maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, the cops came to my house. You can imagine, I escaped from the hospital from psychiatry, so the cops came to my house, and I needed to go with them, and I didn't want to go with them, and I was ready to run. Even though the meds started kicking in, I was ready to run from my home to wherever. But my father talked to them and said, okay, that he will drive me back to the hospital, or up to midnight, I think it was, because it was evening. It was night actually, around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and he said around midnight that they will drive me back to the hospital. So I went in, and as the drugs started kicking in, and as I was relaxed, I lied to my bed and just started to sleep, relax totally, to sleep. And then my father came for me and said, we need to go back. I think that was one of the worst moments in my life. First time after some period of time, then it was one month or so, or I cannot remember how much I was with these emotions up and down, with that depression, with that anxiety and everything. First time I was totally calm, because the meds they gave me, I was lying down, relaxed, and I needed to go back to the hospital. I simply needed, or the cops will come again to the house and take me, or look for me. It was a big problem, and I needed to go back. So they drove me back to the hospital, and again we talked a little bit in the room, but now I was down from the meds. I was relaxed and everything, and actually I was really sleepy, because the meds kick in. And so I said goodbye to my parents, and they went, and then I mean, for me at that point it was all the same. They needed to tie me down to my bed because I escaped once. They were afraid that I will escape again. So I said, okay, they will tie me down, but in the morning they will let me go. So they tie me down and give me some more meds, and how I was drugged from the meds already, I just went to sleep, and I slept until next morning. So next morning when I woke up, I was yelling, nurse, nurse, can you please let me go? You said that you will let me go and when mornings come, yeah, sure, she untied me. What happened? I just turned around to the other side because of the meds, of course, still, and sleep. And then the shitty also period, really shitty, because I escaped. They gave me so heavy meds that for 3 days I was wake up maybe a couple of hours. The rest of it I was sleeping, and when I was wake up from the meds and those drugs they gave me, I could not talk. I can just remember at one point they called me because it was Thursday or Friday when that happened. So over the weekend there was one doctor there, and they called me there, and I talked to him, and he was a little bit at one point. I felt it aggressive towards me because I was saying, "Oh, it's all okay, it will be okay," but he was a little bit aggressively saying, "So what's that on your hands?" Where I was cutting myself, and so we talked there. Nothing important there, but the next thing is for me, I think, really important, because after 3 days, 3 days, I think, my father saw what they did to me, how they drugged me. Because when they come to visit me, I could not talk, I could not look at them, I could not do nothing. And this, he said, he's not crazy, he has problems, but isn't that too much what they gave me and everything? And I don't know what they say to him because I was all messed up from the drugs and everything. But he decided to pull me out from there. So, because there is that possibility when you escape for some days, you need to be there. They cannot pull you out, but after some days they can pull you out. And he decided to pull me out. I remember it was like the best thing that happened to me in the long time. He was outside my window in the room when I wasn't telling me that I'm going home. I told him, like, don't joke with that, because of the feelings, because you can see what they did do to you. I mean, you can feel it from the meds. You see you are all f up from the meds and you cannot do nothing. You are a living zombie. No, he said, you're going home. I just signed the papers, they will come to you. So they come to me, and like they gave me one more pill because it was supposed to help me about something, some other pills they gave me, I cannot remember. And after 3 days, I went home from that hell where I was locked up, and then also that it came a shitty period, which I will talk. Not a shitty period like it was in the previous video, and this what happened to now, but on a different side. A shitty period, because when I came home for a couple of days, I was mumbling. I could not talk normally. My tongue was not listening to me because of all of the drugs and everything. So, but that, like I said, that's it. I will try to put in the next video and another story, because this was the story about me escaping from the hospital. And now, if I just don't think how I felt all that time, how I felt before the hospital, how I felt in the hospital, and all that, I could laugh practically when you hear this story. It's a crazy story. It's like in the movie's story. I could laugh, but as soon as I remember emotions and how I felt, that it's not laughable. It was actually a terrible thing that happened to me, because I don't know the reason why is that in my brain. So why was that in my brain? So why was it some kind of short circuit in the brain or something? But it was what it was, and actually for next year and a half, 2 years, it helped me out a little bit, because I stopped drinking alcohol after that, find the work, and life was starting to get better again. But there's the intro to normal life for what I had for 2 or 3 years. I think I had a relatively normal life with a steady job and everything. There is an intro what I will be talking about in one of the videos I will be making. So if you are having psychological problems, guys, of any kind, go and search help when it's time. Don't do crazy things like I did, because it don't end up good. It's better when you go and search for help by yourself, or with your parents, or with somebody, and see how are they helping you. Because if you do what I did, the help, you cannot see actually the help, because they mess you up with drugs because you escape. And yeah, if you're having problems of any kind, don't be afraid. Go in the hospital, search for help, talk to somebody. And thanks for listening. Until next time, have a good day, guys.